Good morning, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to get the streams going, and I will be right back with you. Okay, Facebook is live, and there's about a 20-second delay, and I am turning on Twitch, which is going, and now we will take a look at... Didn't put a title in it, but we're now live on Periscope, which is Twitter. So we will get started. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Charles Longino. I'm the designer and co-owner at Aspie Tees and Gifts, and we concept, make, and ship all of our products out of our shop in Greensboro, North Carolina. Now, I'm inviting you to join us every day at 10 o'clock during my design time to get a little peek behind the screen to see how we concept and design all of our t-shirts and the different products that we have. And I will talk about different printing techniques. I'll also talk about, we do more than just printing. We also do sandblasting. We have a sandblasting cabinet. So we'll talk about, how we prepare everything as far as the etching and as far as printing between. We also have a DTG. We also have a screen printing press. We do sublimation as well, and we'll talk a little bit about those different processes as we go along. I would like to note that I'm a little under the weather today. I took some Dayquil yesterday and today so that I wouldn't be sniffling during the live stream, but if I get a 1,000-foot stare or 1,000-yard stare, that's why. But I'm going to keep it kind of low-key today as a result, and it'll probably be a little bit of an abbreviated stream. But what I want to know and what we have been working on is So I'm sorry, I was just reading something on the screen on the Facebook Live. But what I want to do today is go back and take a look at the zentangle that we've been working on in the last two live streams. We have the bee completed, and so now I'm taking a look at it, and I have made some decisions on how to address the size and everything, and we'll go into that. Excuse me. The other thing that I would like to mention is that we are giving away a free t-shirt or tote bag with any design that we have in our shop. All you have to do is comment on one of the streams that we're doing. We are on Twitter or Periscope, Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. And so we have 4 streams out there. I try to monitor all of the chats. I'm trying to figure out how to aggregate everything into one place. I haven't quite gotten it, but in the meantime, I've got to go tab by tab through the browser to take a quick look at the chat and see if somebody is saying something. So every once in a while, I'm going to stop and do that. So let's dive right in and get started. Remember to make a comment down the comment section, and you will be entered into the contest that we're going to have. And I believe our first drawing is going to be tomorrow. So please today, if you're watching, make sure to make a comment. All you have to do is say hi or let us know where you're watching from. And that's good enough that we will have your name and you will be in the drawing. And tomorrow we'll let you know who won. So let's get started. All right, we are looking at this design here. Now, when I had started it, make it a little bit bigger, somebody had mentioned in the chat, about the details, and we can print all the way down to very small halftones that we do for a 4-color process print. So we can get this kind of detail in a print for a t-shirt, but she was right that there was a couple of issues. It was getting a little bit too small. The other issue was that I was having is the rest of the letters, if we did a zentangle on each one, I felt would become too busy and it would just be hard to even look at. As you can see in the B, there's a lot going on, and that's what a zentangle is. Zentangle is just kind of a meditative drawing of patterns. Usually you'll do it in a certain shape. But it's really just kind of to be able to zone out and be a little meditative, just draw patterns. There's no right or wrong to it. It's a creative exercise. But usually you get pretty neat designs when everything is said and done. And in this bee, there's two things I wanted to incorporate. I wanted to make it feminine looking, so I wanted to add some flowers into it. And so I have a couple of flower looking shapes in there. And I also wanted to add some elements from the ocean in there. So we have some waves, we have some shells, we have some different things like that, some pearls. And so that's what I had included into this design here. So the first thing I did let me turn that back on. So, traditionally it's in black, and I was just curious to see what it would look like if I did it in, a light yellow that we tend to use here in the shop that we like, or a white. And so let's take a look at the white real quick. So we'll just zip that right on over to white, put that in there, and you can see either the light yellow or the white, to me personally, looks a little bit like a doily. I don't know what your opinion is. I'd love to hear it. Leave a comment in there. Let us know. That would be great. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it black. So what that means is that we are going to have to print on a lighter color t-shirt. But I just think it looks best in black ink. And I think, at least in my opinion, when you tend to have a lot of detail in an illustration, it always looks better to me in black. I think if you add white, sometimes it tends to look, your eye doesn't recognize it as quickly, the design's in there, and it looks more like a blob a lot of times instead of what you're trying to achieve. So I like the black, and that's what we're going to do it in. Now the L-E-S-S-E-D, lest, because we want to have the word blessed. These letters here were, in order to see the detail in the B, I made the B larger and the other letters a little bit smaller, so it doesn't look so busy. If we had zentangled each one of the letters, I think that it would have looked too busy. So our next option was, see if I can get rid of that outline. Where is it? Is that it? Oh. All right, so the next option is just do it like this, where we have the letters solid. And you go from something that has that much design to something that's completely plain like the rest of the letters. I would like to add something in there, and I would like it to be a little bit lighter. This is darker, and because it's lest without the B, when I look at it, my eyes focus in on that, and I don't like that. It's not what we're trying to say. We're trying to say that a person is blessed. For whatever reason, it might be that they have a wonderful family. It might be that they have a terrific career. It could be that a lot of different reasons somebody might feel blessed. And this is a great shirt for somebody to wear that feels good about their situation and who they are. At Aspie Tees and Gifts, we tend to like to try and do positive type t-shirts and designs. When we sit down as a small committee here in the shop to yay or nay different designs, that's one of the criteria that we use. Is it positive? Does it build somebody up? And sometimes, a lot of times with humor, a lot of humor to be funny it can be negative, and so we try to avoid that. All right, so what I think I'm going to do here is I am going to get rid of that, go back to where we were. Okay. Now I'm going to lower down the opacity on this. like that. And I am going to come up and we are going to draw on top of it on a layer that's going to be on top to begin with. And what I want to do is look at some of the different elements in the zentangle that I did. And I would like to keep it to one pattern for all the other letters. It needs to be dark enough that it can read, but light enough in the design that so that if it's too dark, it might be where your eye is attracted instead of to the B. And so I figure if I have something that's a little bit lighter, a little more neutral color into it, or transparency elements in it, the better off I'm going to be. So what I was thinking is in this area here, I also want to come in here and work on some of this a little bit. You know, I was trying to do a rope and then I just kind of got lazy and didn't do it very well down here, and I just kind of wanted to jump back in there. I probably might not do it today or right now while I'm streaming, but I might do it later. So anyways, you know, I wanted to incorporate the kind of waves here, and this section right here I think shows that kind of well, and it's light and it's open, and so we're gonna start here and take a look at that. Might work, might not work. But there's only one way to find out, and it should be relatively easy to do. So it's going to be a little bit larger. Let me get my glasses on. Have a little bit of water. All right. Lean back in the chair, kick off the shoes. Sit here and ponder for a minute why I didn't stay in bed this morning. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up just cutting it out. And so I'm going to draw a big pattern all across the rest of the letters. I want it to be relatively uniform. So we will start by grabbing the pen, and we will black ink would be good. Big. And I think this just kind of looks like rolling waves. It's a pattern that I use a good bit if I do a zentangle. And you know what? I don't know why I just did that. I want to look like one's behind the other one. Boop, boop. Ta-da! Every once in a while, I like to do a little station break in case somebody has joined us to let them know that I am Charles Longino and I am the designer and co-owner at Aspie Tees and Gifts. And what we are doing now is we are working on a zentangle text art design. And so we are, so let's get back to it. Okay. And I don't like to have the pattern be the same going up as I did, so I like to make it a little bit, different like this. But you can just kind of have fun sitting here and drawing some different waves. I think I'm getting them a little too close together than what I usually do, but let's just go ahead and see how it'll look. It won't take too long. If it doesn't look good, we'll just simply clear this layer and do it again until we like what we're getting. I tend to do that a lot. Is I will go back and change artwork many different times until I get something that I like. Feeling you get where you think something looks good, but it's not quite what you envisioned, and it just takes you a little while to get to where you want to go. And because that B's on a different layer, I don't have to worry if I draw over it, because I can just turn it off. See, it's not actually on the same layer, so I'm not messing up the zentangle. It's going to be off. See here, you'll get some wavy lines in there. Clean up the edges. I get asked a lot about this little program that I use on the iPad. And it's an app that's actually, that I found years ago, actually has a great amount of functionality. And it is called Sketch Club, and you don't see it very often in the App Store. But I think it is probably one of the best drawing tools for the iPad. The thing I like about it more than anything is the fact that you're able to just kind of move the canvas around instead of having to move the iPad. A lot of them, it's either hard to release the canvas and you got to keep going in there and releasing it, or you're not allowed to release it at all. And so you got to sit here and twist around your iPad all the time. And that's not fun. And you want these, what you're doing now, to these little rolling kind of waves. You want them to feel random. You don't want them to feel fixed and premeditated. So just kind of randomly put it in there. All right. Now just kind of go around and see any areas that need to be cleaned up a little bit, like here. Zoom in there and just clean it up. A little wavy. See anything that looks, all right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to grab the vector tool down here, and we want it to be filled. I don't have to auto loop it. A little bit bigger, and let's see how this is going to look. Now what we want to do is we want to come from one end down here, kind of like if it's a football, you're drawing it from one end over to the other one, and we just want it to be a little bit wider in the middle, and we can have some variations in the pattern. We don't have to have it, but when you do, vector like that, the reason I'm doing that is it smooths it out. The program will smooth it out, and it gives variations in the width, because when you're drawing it and you're coming back, and what it actually is it's an enclosed loop that I'm drawing on there, but it just gives it a little more authenticity. It looks like you might have done it with, you might have inked it by hand when you do it this way. So there's one. And we can certainly make them a little bit tighter if we don't like it. I usually like it a little thicker in the middle than the edges. Something like that. We can come here and I apologize for my cough. I did take some Dayquil, and it has helped tremendously, but I still have a little bit of a cough. Alright, while I'm doing this, I'm going to take a second. Click through the different screens. Hi, thanks for joining again. I appreciate it. Yeah, it just takes a little bit of practice doing it. Here's the final B that I came out with, and I am so tickled to death that you came back and joined us again and to take a look at it. Nerdy Peach Mango had joined us the other day when we had started the zentangle, and she came back on to see the final result with the B, and I am just as happy as can be. I really appreciate you coming back on. Let's see. Okay, and we got another question about the program that I'm using, and it is a little program called Sketch Club, and I will go over it and kind of explain it while I'm doing this. But it's a great program I found years ago. It wasn't very expensive. I think, if I remember correctly, I've had it for years, but I think it was only like $1.99, and it's better than the vast majority of programs out there that I have found. Probably the closest one I have found to actual Photoshop is a program called Photo Infinity, and it actually has quite an array of features that you can do. I find it, there's a little bit of a learning curve to it. I don't think it's very intuitive. But you can do a lot of the things that you can do in Photoshop on it, which is nice if you want to, clean up or get rid of a background or do something like that. But most importantly is you can do a lot of the basic things on Photo Infinity, and then send it back over and just make the final couple of touches in Photoshop if you need to. But back to this program, sorry, got a little scatterbrained. But this program here is Sketch Club, and it's just a little sketching program, but it's got quite a lot of very useful tools in it. It has layers, and it has filters in it. It has a library of donations from the community as far as backgrounds and textures and things like that you might want to use in your artwork. But most importantly, you know, as you're drawing, it works very well with the Apple Pencil. Um, and it is it's just a great way to be able to sketch when you're not in the office. You know, I've never really gotten used to sketching directly into Photoshop. I don't know why. I've tried it a couple of times. Tried it, you know, I have a program with the tablet too that will mirror into Photoshop so that I can use my tablet um, as a way to do that also. But this is the way I prefer to do it. It's a good little program. It's very forgiving. You see a lot of people out there that will do this by hand and pen and ink on paper, and all I can say is God bless them. I don't think I would be able to do zentangle that way. So if you have any kind of anything you don't like, you're kind of committed at that point. But you can see what it looks like and how it's coming along. It's just going to give it that kind of rolling feel to it. I don't know where everybody's from, but I'll tell you, in North Carolina, it is just a beautiful fall day out there. Bright, clear, the right amount of cool where it's just brisk, but it's not cold. That would be awesome if Photoshop released an app for the iPad. I much prefer to draw on the iPad and then move things over to the computer. But that would just be phenomenal. They should have done it years ago. I'm sure they really care about my opinion on that, but that one I don't need to worry about. Kind of look like melons stacked. Ta-da! If you're just joining us, I'm Charles Longino. I'm the designer at Aspie Tees and Gifts, and we are working on a zentangle design, and we'll get right back to it. Please, if you get a chance, make a comment down below if you're watching, and thank you for joining us. We are going to be doing a drawing tomorrow for this past week of anybody that's made a comment. So just say hi or let us know where you're watching from, and you'll be entered into the drawing, and it'll be tomorrow for any of our designs on either a t-shirt or a tote bag. Thanks so much for watching. Alexa, play Josh Woodward's Greatest Hits.
Shuffling songs by Josh Woodward on Amazon Music.
And we are getting close to finishing this part up. Okay, and I think we got, except for down here. See, we got that covered. Throw one in here. Okay. What I'm going to do now is turn off that layer. Come back down here. This layer, turn the opacity back up. And then I'm going to come in here and take the select tool and just select the layer. Oh, you know what? That's not going to work. Let's see. I just want the inside selected, so we'll just create a new layer here. Turn that off. I want to copy that down. Huh. Not sure how I feel about that. Not quite what I had expected. Let's pick something. like how the patterns go through to the different letters. You know, the other thing we can do is if we don't want that, we can do each letter one at a time and kind of move around the pattern. Well, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not crazy about it. So I like the B. I like the zentangle. I'm just not sure if I like the rest of the letters that are in there. So I'm gonna have to think about what I'm gonna do with that. See if I can do something that might make it a little bit better. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna do this with a design. I wanted to draw somebody coming out of the book and have it say something to the effect of I got lost in a book and I just found my way out. And I thought that would be kind of a cute t-shirt. Alright. Let's see what we got. What else we have here? Go back into here. Let's just get rid of that background. I wonder what if it would look okay if I just like that. Now, I usually stream until 12 o'clock, but I'm not feeling very well today, and I'm not sure where to go forward with this. I'm going to have to think about that for a little bit. So I appreciate everybody watching today. I think that we are going to end the live stream right here, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I will see everybody tomorrow. And remember, it's the last chance to comment for our drawing that's going to be tomorrow. And so if you get a chance, or if you're seeing this live stream later today, make sure that you comment down below. That way we'll have your name, and when we do our drawing, if you win, you can choose any of our designs either on a t-shirt or a tote bag. Thanks so much, and I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you.